The older you get, the more you realize how little you know and how much more there is to know. We're not doing very well, that we seem to be moving farther and farther away from what would be good for our grandchildren and their children. The earth can deteriorate and ultimately lose its life-giving forces, and it can change and become barren, or it can change and become snow. It has its own direction. It has its own will and ability. And we're part of that. And so right now I see two big areas of concern. Some time back, when Einstein was asked a question about what is the most powerful law of the universe, he said it was the law of compound. And I pondered that, and I said, compound, what does that actually mean? And I really thought about it and have been thinking about it, and I come to the conclusion that it's kind of like an explosion in reverse. It starts slow and ends fast. So compound are in two that I see. And one is compound of the ice melting, and the other is a compound of human population. Both are moving and accelerating. Both are under their own direction. It doesn't seem like there's a control factor here for either one. Certainly the ice melt is something beyond our control at the moment, because what it takes the instruction of the peacemaker to be of one mind. The power of the good mind can change anything. So we have to somehow get to that point of unity of thought and direction and effort. And if we can do that, we certainly can mitigate what's going on now. I think we have to adjust, and we have to get a message to the people, and they have to understand the seriousness of this situation right now. Lester Brown, who's recognized as one of the great scientists of the world concerning environment and interest, said that in 1950 there was 2.5 billion people in the world. 2000, there were 6 billion. So in that short time, we almost doubled, tripled the population of the world. That's not sustainable. That is not sustainable. You can't do that. But we are. And that's a reality. Who knows that? Who thinks about that? I heard ÇİD say that one time. He says, well, in my lifetime, I've seen this population double. And you think about that. It took 4 million years to get to that point. It takes something like 50 years to do it twice. No, that don't work. And so that's what we're facing in the world today. We have China, who has 1 billion people, more, 1.3, I think, maybe probably more by this time. India, which has 1 billion people, just the two of them are 1/3 of the population of the world. Indian nations have what they call prophecies, but also the Bible has prophecies, and people have had prophecies all the time. Seems to be part of human nature. They're not so much prophecies as they are instructions of conduct, and the prophecies being that this will happen if you don't do this, or this will happen if you drop this. So it always leaves the option to the present. It always leaves the option to the current generation. And I think that that's the importance of these prophecies. The earmarks are here of what's happening. You can look about and see the change in temperatures. Everybody's kind of basking in the warm winters, and they don't say so, but they like it. But the lack of snow on the ground is bad for the earth. That's water. Earth is water. When the earth doesn't have a blanket of snow that it can melt slowly into the earth and rejuvenate the water, then you're going to have a dry season. And then the influx of winds, high winds, we see that. That was told to us. We were told two things. They said that will tell you what the condition of the earth will be when the earth is deteriorating. One will be the acceleration of the winds, and the other will be how people treat their children. And we see, it's a comment on both the natural world and a comment on human population. How people are treating the children today are very bad. And the winds we've seen, and they're coming stronger. They're going to come more and more. And we're told that the only way to do that is to be respectful in your conduct. There's a lot of indicators of what's going on today. Mother Earth has laws and rules, and one of them is balance. She will keep the balance, regardless. People have taken religion and confused it with their own ideas of power and authority. From what I know, and I don't know a lot, I think old age gives you one perspective, that human nature and human beings have a very consistent way of doing things. That's learning the hard way. We just love to learn the hard way. And it seems like every generation has that, even though the instructions are clear. In these times, we don't have a lot of time. I think time is an element here. Maya said to us that there's going to be a period of enlightenment. Enlightenment is when you suddenly perceive something. You understand it and it's clear. Well, that's where we are. We're right there. So the period of enlightenment and the ability for us to deal with it is going to reflect on, I think, the teaching of the peacemaker again. And he said that when you sit and you counsel for the welfare of the people, think not of yourself, nor of your family, or even your generation. Make your decisions on behalf of the 7th generation coming, so they may enjoy what you have today. So it's an instruction of responsibility. It was a very visionary instruction. It was a long-term instruction. If you take care of the future, you'll be taking care of yourself. You yourself will have peace. Human beings are still a biological experiment. We're here a short time. We haven't been here long. In the time of the earth, not very long at all. And the earth is not dependent on us. We're dependent on it. By whatever means, the earth goes nowhere. And in time, it will regenerate. And all the lakes will be pristine. The rivers, the waters, the mountains, everything will be green again. It'll be peaceful. There may not be people, but the earth will regenerate. And you know why? Because the earth has all the time in the world, and we don't. The best teachers that we had and we learned from all the time was nature and the animals. They taught us a lot. If it wasn't for the bear, we wouldn't know how to survive. We have to have a better understanding of who we are. And if you don't learn, you're just going to suffer the consequence. There is hope, always hope. And the hope is in the conduct of the people. But the actions and time are forcing issues now. And I hope that this will help and help them understand that it's really almost not a question of who's right and who's wrong. It's a question of what do we do now?